feel like you've been here twice, or okay, just once. Okay, yeah. Well, it's always nice to see you. It's always nice to see people in general. So, how's your morning been? Good. That's nice. That's nice to hear. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. That's what like everyone's been missing. So I'm glad you're getting that. All right. That yeah, I think it'll be best if you do. Yeah. All right. Hi. Good morning, Arad. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Megan. Good morning, Owen and Sebastian. Good morning, Maya and Rabab and Mara. Good morning to all of you. And good morning, Dylan and Emily. Good morning, Jahanza. Good morning, Madison. Anyone else just get here I missed? I don't think so. Angelo, I don't know if I said good morning. Good morning, Jolie. Good morning, Mackenzie. Morning, Ethan. Morning, Marissa. Hi, Kane. Welcome. Good to see you. Right, that looks like most of us. So yesterday the last time I saw you, it was so strange, right? There was this weird power outage type thing going on here. And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to leave the building. And that was bizarre. So I want to say thank you to those of you who did the formative. I graded it and I gave you feedback, and I'm sure that's going to be helpful to you. If you didn't, then I can only recommend that you do it tonight. Make sure you do it, because I will still grade it. As long as you get it done before class tomorrow, I'll grade it for you so you can get that feedback. But if you don't do it, I think you're missing out on a real important opportunity. So I know I said that yesterday, but let me reiterate it again today. But since we had a weird day yesterday, we didn't get a chance to do weekend update, which I think is always important. So be thinking for a moment about something fun and or interesting from your weekend that you wouldn't mind sharing with your team. And I will send you to your teams in a moment. Here's something from my weekend that was fun and or interesting, depending on how you look at it. It was both for me. On Sunday, my family and I went tubing. And so, it's like sledding. We went to like a place that has got like kind of a small ski hill. And then they've got a separate smaller hill for tubing, and you don't they provide them for you. And then it's fun. You get going pretty fast. You can kind of link your tubes up to each other. So like, my kids and I went a couple of times together, linked up, and they went a couple of times without me. And one of the funny things about it, the funny experience, and like I think this will be easiest if I actually make myself bigger. One of the funny experiences that like the way you stop. So you like go down. Like you go down the hill and then you get to the bottom of the hill, and then to stop, they actually bring you back up a little bit. And they say that you should put like the heaviest people in the front if you're linking up. Well, so I went with my kids, and my kids were like, I want to go in front. And I'm like, sure, no problem. So they were in front. And so you go down the hill, you start coming back up, and they've got like this rubber mat here that you slide onto. And the rubber mat is friction that stops you from, stops you. So my kids were in front, and what happened was they got on the mat and they slowed down and they came to a stop, but I didn't fully get on the mat because they had stopped and we're all linked up and I was in the back. Well, because I'm more heavier, massive than them, we go down, we get up to like the top of that little end of the hill, and then I just pulled us right back down because I wasn't on those mats. I didn't have that friction. And so then we slid back down. So we all like laughed about it. We're at the bottom, then we had to climb back out again. But, it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was a funny and fun kind of experience for us. All right. Hopefully you've got something. It doesn't have to be nearly as like funny or interesting as that, but hopefully you got something that you don't mind sharing with your group. So I'll put you in breakout rooms here for, let's see here, a couple of minutes, 2 minutes. I think that'll be fine. And just discuss your weekends with each other, something interesting or fun from your weekend, or talk about anything you want. Just use this time to have a little bit of fun with your group, okay? All right, I'll see you in 2 minutes. Bye, everyone. It was just a little, it was close to Milwaukee, I'd say. Yeah. No, it was like $20 a tube. Not too bad, but Not super cheap also. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you could totally check it out. I can find out the name of the place. My wife knows, I don't know, but I could let you know. Yeah, for sure.
We keep getting like sunny and like 40 degrees. Oh.
Hi, Angelo. Sunny and 40 degrees. I hear you, dude. It is sunny and 40 degrees outside today, and it feels like I'm in Florida. Marissa, are you in Florida right now? No, not now. Well, if you step outside, you're going to feel like you're in Florida. That's a joke. It only feels like Florida to us outside who haven't actually been in Florida. For you, it wouldn't feel like Florida because you actually know what Florida feels like, and it's a lot warmer than this. But yeah, so there you go. I'm very excited about how the temperature. Okay, so let's do this. Oh, there we go, Megan. Didn't know it was warm out. Go outside. I mean, that's the joke. 40 is not really warm, but it feels warm compared to the way it's been the past couple of days. So, but yeah, check it out. Honestly, everyone should just step outside for a few minutes. It honestly feels really nice compared to the past couple of weeks. In fact, I like when you look at the weather, like the next, like the highs are going to be in the 40s moving forward. So, yay, it's happening. We're getting out of winter. Okay, let's do some physics, everyone. I hope you had a nice little chat with your team, with your group. And let's dive in. So again, I want to say thank you. Oh, so if you did do the formative yesterday, I graded it. Just take a quick moment, bounce over to Google Classroom right now and take a look at my comments to you, okay? I'm going to quickly load up the review for everyone. So while I'm doing that, I'm loading it up here into Google Classroom. Everyone should just go take a quick look at the formative. Yeah, oh yeah, sorry. See 3 more people turned it in, so that's great. I'll get those graded right away. Again, anyone else who has not turned it in, please do so before class tomorrow, and I'll grade it for you so you can get that feedback. Okay. In the meantime, now it's time to do some review. I do want to just one more time make a plug for that Archimedes calculator app. So I'm going to copy, oh boy, what just happened there? Let me copy this and go to the chat and paste this in there. And I'll send that to everyone. Okay, so I mean, like I said, I will also say, like I think Nora was in the other day and she had loaded it on her phone. I think that's a really good idea. If you can load it on your phone, I think that'd be really helpful because then you could have like your Notability and your iPad open and then the calculator, Archimedes calculator on your phone, and then you don't have to be like flipping back and forth. You've got 2 separate devices. Now I will say, and I think I mentioned this the other day, I think it only works on Apple devices. I could be wrong. Please let me know if you've got an Android and you're able to get it to work on there. So if you've got an Android device, it may not work for you, but you could certainly give it a try. All right. So let's dive into that review. That's what we're going to do. I kind of skimmed through it and I picked some problems that I thought would be particularly helpful based on how people did on the formative yesterday. So here it is. Here's the review. You can open it up like here. I'm going to pull it up on my iPad in just a moment, but just to give you a quick overview, we're going to skip that first page and I think we're going to dive in here. We're going to dive into like number 5 and then 1 and 2. So that's where we're going to go. We're going to go to number 5. If you want to get a head start and you want to just get started, you can open it up and get started on page 2, number 5. And then we're going to do 1 and 2, but we'll do this. We'll kind of do it together, as a group here, like we like to do. All right. So with that, let me get my iPad shared. While I'm doing this, do you guys have any questions for me? Has anybody out there got any questions for me?
I do have one.
Yeah.
So like just like looking at this review, like it seems like it separates, like it has a page dedicated to multi-step and then a page dedicated to like single step. So in the summative, do you have like any tips, I guess, for determining like when a problem is multi-step and when a problem is single step?
It's an excellent question, Megan. Let me think on that. Okay. I have, yeah, let me think on that. That's a great question. So let's see. So, okay. So yeah, we are at the kind of the bottom here. And part of the reason, everyone, that I think that's a great question is because of the fact that that was a common comment I made on the formative, where I said to people, like, you need to get better at the, multi-step or 2-step problems, right? So let me think. I'll think about that. Okay. I might have an idea for you. Yeah, I got one that just percolated in my mind. So we'll see. Number 5 is just a single step problem. So you're just using F equals K Q1 Q2 over distance squared. Okay. So I'll pull it up so I can see all of you, and I want you guys just give me a signal once you think you have solved this problem, and then I will do it myself. Okay. Sorry, I was just zoning out. Thank you, Michael. Anybody else that I missed? Did anybody else try and finish this one yet? Cool. Madison did, and Ethan, Marissa, Megan. Angelo.
I'm like in the middle. I don't know if there's an emoji for it, but I'm like halfway done.
Okay, thank you for the update. Just let me know when people are done. And I'm going to jump in here in a moment, and then you can kind of like follow while you're doing your own, though. Thanks, Jolie. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. So let's see. Our goal here is to find, I'm skipping part A for now. We're not going to see that on the summative, that kind of stuff. But so I'm just jumping straight to part B. Calculate the charge of the other object. Now, Megan and everyone, watch this. This is how I'm going to try and answer the question. So if we want to calculate the charge of the other object, call that like Q2. So I'm going to start plugging in my values. So that means I need to know everything else. I need to know force, K, Q1, and distance. That's what it means. So let's see. The force is here. So 4.0 times 10 to the negative 6th equals k, which we know is 9 times 10 to the 9th, that's a constant, times q1, which is this guy here. And remember, you don't need to keep that negative sign, 3.4 times 10 to the negative 4th. Come on, iPad, there we go. Q2 is what we're solving for. So we need the distance, and we got it right here, 0.05 meters squared.
It's
Okay.
negative 3.4.
Right, and so what I
Oh,
said,
sorry.
no, that's fine, and that's good. I'm glad you brought up just so we can remind ourselves. I said we don't need that negative sign, and I was just saying that as a reminder because when we're doing the calculations, those negative signs don't really do anything for us. Those negative signs are helpful for this kind of thing if we need to decide if that other object is charged like positive or negative. Does that sound familiar, Azima?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So now, because I do everything on one device, I just have some scratch paper here. So I'm going to quickly write down my values, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. What my steps are going to be this. They're going to be that I'm going to do all these things first. And then once I get that value, I'll divide it over there. So I'll do 4.0 times 10 to the negative 6 divided by what I get there, and that'll give me my Q2. Now, before I do that, I want to just kind of address Megan's question. And how would I know if this is a two-step problem? Well, quite simply, I would have two unknowns. And since I only have one unknown, I know this is a one-step problem. If I try and write my equation out and I've got two unknowns, then I know it's got to be a two-step problem. So that's kind of my best advice I think that I can give at this point. Okay, so let me quickly write this on my scratch paper. 4 times 10 to the negative 6, 9 times 10 to the 9th, 3.4 times 10 to the negative 4th. Again, you can kind of get a sense like that I have to write all this out, whereas you, if you just download it to your phone, if you have that ability, then you could kind of avoid that step. Okay, so I'm going to, like I said, just so you're clear, guys, I'm gonna multiply and divide all that together, and then I'll divide it over here. So 4.0 times 10 to the negative 6 divided by the answer I get. Here we go. And as usual, I'm going to ask if anyone was able to get it before me. 9 times 10 to the 9th multiplied by 3.4 times 10 to the negative 4th divided by 0.05. Just a moment. We'll do it like 0.05. Don't forget to square it. Common mistake is forget to square it. So I get that 1.224 times 10 to the 9th. Then I'm going to divide 4.0 times 10 to the negative 6th by that. And if you remember, if you swipe on the keys here, if you swipe left, you can get that answer button, which will give me the value that we got before. And so now here's the answer, 3.267, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just gonna say 3.27 times 10 to the negative 15th. Give me a signal if you got that, 3.27 times 10 to the negative 15th. And people got that before me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, a little under half of us. So are there any questions on that?
Yeah, I have a question. So
Yeah.
again, mine could have been like a calculating error. But when I did like 9 times 10 to the 9th and then 3.4 times 10 to the negative 4th and then our Q2.
Yeah.
When I did like those two multiplied, I got like 306. Like something I did is definitely wrong. I just don't
So
know
are
what.
you using this app?
So I was having trouble with the app, which is when I've been using the normal calculator.
Yeah.
But if it's just been easier for me to use that. But if that's gonna be a problem, then I can.
I mean, my best advice at this point is that this app really tends to save students a lot of headaches, because otherwise using like calculators, you often have to like figure out the right place to put parentheses in, et cetera, et cetera. The most common mistake or issue that maybe you're having with the calculator is you did not put parentheses around maybe this being squared. That's possible.
All we can see is it just says to connect Wi-Fi is what your screen.
Oh, not. Yeah, shoot. I guess I don't know what happened. Anyway, I guess I was looking at my Archimedes, like the calculator app, and I was just saying the denominator. Maybe you need to put parentheses around your denominator value. That's the best advice I can give you. Okay, I'm gonna have to reconfigure my, thank you for the heads up. Oh, no, it got back on. Okay, so so there you go. So the answer was, I don't know what, like 3.7 times 10 to the 3.27 times 10 to the negative 15th. Okay. Let's try the next problem. Unless, are there any other questions before I go on? Are there any other questions on that one we just looked at? Yeah, Dari. Yeah, and then so then we need the units and we measure a charge in coulombs. So it'd be that with a capital C after it. Thank you, Dari.
I have a quick question, Mr. Bostay.
Yeah, Sebastian.
How did you get the do you see for the answer? How did you get the answer to be under the 40E,
Oh,
the 40E?
okay, yeah. So let's see. Let's see if I can clear this. I did 4.0 E negative 6, and then I just clicked the divided button right here. You know, just that divided button right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. So now, now I've like done it twice, and so that just gives me the denominator. And like I said, if you swipe on the keypad left or right, then you can get that answer option.
Okay.
Does that answer
Yeah.
your question? Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Good, good.
I just have
Yeah.
one
Julie?
question about the calculator. So I'm solving it again just in the calculator. How do I click to get my answer? Like I've typed in the equation with the stuff, but how do I get like where it shows I have the exact same thing typed in, but it's not giving me an answer?
You got like a TI-80 something?
No, I'm on the calculator app.
Oh.
Like I'm on the app that you have, but
Oh, you're on this one, the Archimedes.
yeah. But when I have it typed in and then on the top row of the fraction, I used the parentheses. Do I not need to use them in this?
Right. Yeah. Now you don't need to use them.
If I use them, will it mess me up though?
I wouldn't expect so. So, you know, maybe Jolie, if what we could do is right after class, you could stick around and you could like screen share so I could help you a little more.
Okay.
So I think that's the best. I just because I do want to make sure we get to a couple other problems here with everyone else. But I could, if you got like an individual problem with that, with you or anyone else, I'd be happy to help you right after class. Okay, folks. So let's take a look at the next problem. And I think that right away I'll be able to kind of, let me start this with you guys, and that way I'll be able to kind of show you what I was saying about how we can identify this as a multi-step problem without the title, right? Obviously on the summative on Thursday, we want to have that title there. So it says, a balloon attracts a vinylite strip with a force of 3.4 times 10 to the negative 5th newtons. When they are 6.0 times 10 to the negative 2nd meters apart, the balloon has a charge of negative 1.2 times 10 to the negative 19 coulombs. Calculate how many electrons the vinylite strip was missing. All right, and so it's a little tricky, but so calculate number of electrons means that we're going to use Q equals NE. Right, and so the thing we're trying to solve for is the N, the number of electrons, right? We know that E is 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19th, right? That's a constant value, right? It's given right here, right? Sorry, right there, 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19th. That's just the charge of an electron or a proton. So that means we must need the Q, right? So do we have the Q? And the answer we're going to see is no, but it's a little tricky, so bear with me. Because we need the charge of the vinylite strip, and we're given the charge of the balloon. So what we find is that we've got two unknowns, N and Q. So that's how you're going to know that it's a multi-step problem. Does that seem helpful, Megan? Okay. So I'm going to let you guys jump in. I'll give. So we're going to use force equals K, Q1, Q2. Over distance squared. And so what you're going to solve for is you're going to solve for that Q of like the vinylite strip and then plug it in over here. All right. So I'll give you a few minutes to get a head start. You know, give me a signal if you finish it. But again, just in the interest of time, I'll probably dive in myself in a couple of minutes because probably if you haven't finished in a couple of minutes, you need some help with me anyway. Thank you, Rod. I see you finished. Thank you. Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Angelo. Thank you, Madison. Thank you, Megan. And I do want to give another minute of wait time. If if you're cranking through this, feel free to start the next problem. But I do want to give those people that are still working on this first one a little extra time. So again, don't be shy. If you finish this first one, give me a signal here. All right, I'm going to jump in now. If you're still working, that's okay. You can kind of keep working and watch me multitask a little bit there. All right, so our first goal is to solve for, like I said, Q2. So we need to plug in all those other values. So let's see. We've got the force. So we got 3.4 times 10 to the negative fifth. Of course, K is 9 times 10 to the ninth. Let me scooch all this over. So I got myself a little more space. Q1 is right here, 1.2 times 10 to the negative ninth. And again, you can drop that negative sign that's there in front, the one that's way out in front. Q2 is what we're solving for. And the distance is 6.0 times 10 to the negative 2. And don't forget to square that. Again, common mistake is forget to square that. So I'll do that same kind of process that I did last time, and where I'm going to multiply and divide all of this together. And then when I get that value, I'm going to divide it over. So again, give me a moment to write this down. 4 times 10 to the negative fifth. 9 times 10 to the ninth. 1.2 times 10 to the negative ninth. Over 6.0 times 10 to the negative second. Don't forget to square it. Okay, here we go. Let me dive into my calculator app and get this plugged in. So I'll start with that right-hand side. And it's 9 times 10 to the ninth multiplied by 1.2 times 10 to the negative ninth divided by 6.0 times 10 to the negative second. And don't forget to square it. So we get 3,000 there. So we get, oops, accidentally. Okay, now we're back. So we get 3,000 there. And so then I'm going to take that left-hand side, which was 3.4 times 10 to the negative fifth. And I'm going to divide it by the answer that I just got, like so. I get 1.133 times 10 to the negative eighth. Now we're not done yet. So let me write that down. 1.33 times 10 to the negative eighth. And let me go back to notability. Okay. Here we go. So what we just found is that Q2 is 1.33 times 10 to the negative eighth. So I'm going to plug that value that I just got, I'm going to plug it in right here for that. So I get 1.33 times 10 to the negative eighth equals n times 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19th. Now I'm going to take my 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19th and divide it over, and then I will solve for n. So here we go. Back to my calculator. So I've got that value.
I want to sound picky, but wasn't it 1.13 and you wrote 1.33?
Oh, thank you. 1.13. Yes, we're back on my calculator app where I see exactly what you said, Arad. 1.13. Thank you. And so I'm just going to take that answer and divide it by the 1.6 e negative 19. Ooh, I don't know where that 3 snuck in there. 2.6e, negative 19. I get basically 7 times 10 to the 10th. So give me a signal if you got that. 7 times 10 to the 10th in that ballpark. 1, 2, oh, wow. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of us came up real fast on that. Do people have, oh, 7,
I got 10
okay.
to the negative 28.
Yeah, so I think that's probably because maybe your previous answer was 10 to the positive 8th instead of negative
I'll
8th.
check right now.
Yeah. So I want to say about 7 or 8 of us got that. And Jolie, I see you got it. That's awesome because I knew you were having calculator troubles. So does anybody have any questions on this?
For Q2, I got negative 1.99 times 10 to the negative 7th, and I did it twice.
Huh.
So.
And you're using the same app as me, right?
No,
Mr.
I'm
Rosette,
using
I
a
made a
TI.
mistake. I'm all good.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm using a TI-84.
Okay. And I hate to say it, but like this, and this is why, like, because we're not in, like, if you were in the classroom with me, I'd like go right over there and I'd be able to troubleshoot. But because we're remote, it's just super difficult for me to like troubleshoot how people might be plugging their calculator right or wrong. And so that's why I've been such a big advocate for this app, because it's like you get to see the way I put it in, and then you can kind of mirror that. So I will say that, you know, if, let's say you stick with your calculator, when I grade this on Thursday, if I see your setup is good and you made a calculator mistake, I will consider that far less of an error. Okay. So let me, this is a very good time, Azima, you bringing this up for me to explain something to you guys. So like, let's say I was grading my work. First of all, I apologize. I realize my work is a little bit, my handwriting's a little messy, but I will also say we'll give you plenty more space. I do confess we didn't give a ton of space in here. But let's say I was grading my work, okay? And let's say I saw this. I can't tell you how important it is for you to actually write the equation out. Let's say I see you wrote this equation, right? And then I see that you put these numbers in, and those numbers are exactly correct. So I know you've got the right idea. And then let's say you plug it into your calculator and you didn't get this answer, but you wrote something there and you showed me all this work, right? And you put some other number in right there. But you showed me that you got your answer, you plugged it in there, and you showed me all this work and that you're putting numbers in the right place. I'll basically like not even care. Like I'll basically like be like, okay, this person knows what they're doing. They had a calculator issue. This isn't like calculator class. This is physics class, right? And so I can be very lenient with calculator errors, which is why it's super duper important for you to show like all your steps. Does that help, Azima?
Thank you.
Okay, good. Any other questions out there? Okay, all right, cool. I do want to try and do one more. I know these are kind of lengthy, and and on top of that, obviously, we've got some really good questions, and I don't want to like disregard them. I think these questions are helpful for everyone to hear. Okay, cool. So here we go. Let me go back. Yes, that's probably a good idea. Yeah, let's do, Dari suggested that maybe we do an LT5b one. And yes, I definitely want to. So let's do, any of these would be fine. Let me see, just quickly glancing at them, if one looks particularly good in my mind. Yeah, maybe this one. We could try number 6 here. So why don't you guys try that one and give me a signal once you've attempted it. All right, thank you, Dari. Please give me a signal, folks, once you've tried this one. Thank you, Megan and Madison. Cool. Thank you, Maya. I see that chat. Thank you. Thank you, Ethan. Anyone else finish this one? I think I've only seen from like 4 or 5 people. So this one right here, right? Please let me know when you've finished attempting it. Thank you, Mara and Arad. And I'm like, okay, and Michael, okay. So maybe I missed a couple of people or they just hadn't mentioned it. All right, so I'm gonna dive in. So remember, the way we do proportional reasoning is we do our placeholders. So placeholder force equals placeholder K, placeholder Q1, placeholder Q2 over placeholder distance squared. All right, so let's see. To assume the charge of B remain the same, so we'll call that Q2. So we'll put a 1 there. Okay. But the charge of A changed by a factor of 6, so this would have a 6. By what factor would the distance also have to change in order to keep the force constant? So if we're keeping the force constant, that must be a 1. This is our question mark. And we know K will always be a 1 because I know I said it before, but it's good to hear me say it again. You can't change that 9 times 10 to the 9th value. You can change the charge like Q1 or Q2, but that doesn't change K. You can change the distance, but that doesn't change K. And you can change the force, but none of those things change K. K is 9 times 10 to the 9th. So it's always going to have a 1 in front of it. So from there, we've got our equation. 1 equals 1 times 6 times 1 over question mark squared. And the most common mistake that I saw in this part of the formative was people forgetting either, well, I will say 2 things. Either people struggling with the algebra or people forgetting about this squared, okay? So algebra-wise, a big important thing that I've told you guys before that I want to say again is when the question mark is in the denominator, multiply it to the other side. That is like the best first thing to do algebraically. So we get question mark squared times 1, so I'm just going to leave that 1 out, equals 1 times 6 times 1, so equals 6. And right away, as soon as you multiply that to the other side, this becomes a much simpler problem to solve. So it's just square root of 6. And then for B, for finding the new distance, we just do square root of 6 times the old distance, which was 0.5. Okay, give me a signal if you got that. Anybody get that one before me? Awesome. So let's just do one more of these. How about number 7? And you guys, oh, that was a lot of us got that one. Good job. So let's do number 7. Go ahead and start on it. And I know our time's going to run out, but I'm going to stick around and finish it. So if you'd want to stick around, that'd be great to stick around and do it with me. As soon as class is over, I'm going to post the answer key to the formative on our Google Classroom. So if you haven't done the formative, please do it without looking at the answer key. If you have done the formative, use that answer key to kind of learn from your mistakes, okay? I'm just going to dive in the interest of time. This is a good one. I think this would be a good one. So it says, assume the charge of A remain the same. So I put a 1 in front of Q1, but the charge of B changed by a factor of 1/4. So I put a 1/4 there. By what factor would the distance also have to change in order to change the force by a factor of 8? So again, I'm just going to keep rolling. If you feel like you absolutely need to go, you can go, but probably be nice if you stuck around for 1 extra minute to see this through. Remember, my advice is if your question mark's in the denominator to multiply it to the other side. So, but I guess let's first write this out with just the symbols. So we got 8 equals 1 times 1/4 over question mark, and do not forget that squared. So multiply the question mark squared to the other side. So question mark squared times 8 equals 1/4. Then we're going to divide the 8 over. So we get question mark squared equals 1/4 over 8. And so we can think of that as like 8 over 1. And so it's like 1/4 over 8 over 1. And then when we divide two fractions, like multiplying by the reciprocal. So question mark squared is equal to 1/4 times 1 over 8. So that's going to be 1/32. So question mark squared equals 1 over 32. And then we square root. So the factor of change is square root of 132. Okay. Thanks for sticking around. The folks who did, if you got questions, I would love to take them. I'll post the answer key to the formative right now. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll continue reviewing tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
So, Mr. Bozday,
Yeah, what's up, Julie?
so I am on a separate device with my iPad, but I can kind of like, I guess, turn it around. Hold on, let me pull it up really fast.
Like hold it in front of the.
Yeah, I was gonna say that might be the best guess. So this was like just for that first problem we did. I understand what I was doing wrong now, so I was able to do the rest. I just want to ask to like clarify.
Sure.
So like this was the original equation that we all did.
Yes. Okay, got it.
So like that was the original equation we did. So when I typed it into the calculator, the app calculator, not the TI-84, when I like, so basically, hold on. I like tried to like screenshot it as I was going so that I didn't have to retype it in.
Okay.
So when you did it, it gave you like the 9e to the like this, and it got the answer down there.
Yeah.
Am I not able to do like on that numerator line, like a parenthesis 9 times e to the 9th parenthesis? Like if I set up the parentheses, what happened was I like did it with all the parentheses, the bottom, same thing as this, but then it didn't give me any answer down here. It just stayed blank, which is why I wasn't sure if there was like an enter button.
Okay, in the calculator app, my best guess is you had like one too many parentheses, like either you had like like 2 parentheses that were left side parentheses and only 1 on the right side. So like you had your parentheses didn't match up. That's probably what was going on.
Okay.
Mr. Bozade, I just have a
Hold on.
quick question.
1 second, Rod. I think Jolie and I are good then.
I'm typing it in one more time so Rod can ask your question.
Okay.
Just-
Yeah, just a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, Rod.
So on the summative, are we also gonna have the electron shifting and then the
No,
chart
no.
ground?
That's a future. So that's going to be in about a week and a half. So we're gonna no.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. And Maya, do you have a quick question for me?
Yeah, I was wondering if you're gonna post the key to the review we just did.
Yes, I will also post that for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And then just that last thing was, so here I've typed it in again, how I did it before,
Mhm.
but it didn't give me any answer. So I understand now, like just to type just like 9e to the 9th and just not even worry about like the parentheses when using this app.
Wait, can you hold that up again?
I also could
I
have some.
think I see the problem. When you use E, you don't put a times in there. It's just 9E9. I think that's the actual. It's not the parentheses. It's that you were hitting times.
Okay, so I guess it multiplication because it's the E means times 10 to the whatever the next number. Okay,
Yeah.
so now I have an answer.
There you go. So
That's
that's what was going on.
Parentheses help me to see like Q1, Q2, okay. It just helps me to see that.
Yeah.
So I can
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. So the parentheses weren't the issue. So now we got it.
Okay, and then just one more thing.
Yeah,
while
sure.
we were doing this. So while I was trying to figure out what I did wrong, I sort of missed. So I have these equal to each other. What? Oh, I forgot the Q2. Oopsies.
There you go. So you divide it over and then you're solving for Q2.
So I would divide this over that way.
Exactly.
Okay, then that answered that. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Great. I'm glad we sorted that out. All right, Jolie, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.